Oh, okay. So my name is Jill Ware. I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a retired performer, and a teacher of dance. I am now also a virtual reality researcher exploring empathy, embodiment, movement, and arts and health collaborations. I would like to take a moment and introduce you to my collaborative partner who could not be here this evening. This is John Henry Bladder. Here he is on the Arctic seas. He's not actually on the Arctic seas right now, but I thought this would look really great, and he could keep me company for a minute. John is an installation artist, trained in sculpture with a practice that is centered around body, self, and identity. John and I met about 5 years ago, and we began collaborating with movement and technology. And about a year and a half ago, we formed the project Embodied Empathy. Embodied Empathy is a research project, an artistic endeavor that explores empathic concern, bias reduction, movement experiences, and collaborations with the medical community. So when I say embodied empathy, what am I actually saying? Right? So embodied empathy is a virtual reality project. And essentially what we do is we film narratives of different people using a head strap with a fisheye lens, a 220-degree lens, so that we capture someone's world and so that we can get a sense of their point of view. Then we process that video and we put it into one of the VR players and put goggles on, the VR goggles on. And so then when you step into that body and you put the goggles on, you look down, you see another person's hands, you see another person's lap. And the idea is that you move with them. So if they move their arm to the right, you move your arm to the right too. And so this all kind of comes from the rubber hand experiment, which was done years ago. But essentially what it says is if you take visual input, and in the case of the rubber hand experiment, you put a rubber hand right in front of the body and you obscure your hand. So a researcher would put a rubber hand here and move your hand away from your view. And then along with sensory stimulation, the researcher would take a paintbrush and stroke your real hand and the rubber hand at the same time. So you can't see this hand, but you can see and feel this happening. So after a very short time, you'll start to take on and adopt the rubber hand as your own. And so what we do with virtual reality is essentially that. So we use things called haptics, which can be anything from a blood pressure cuff. So say we videoed it, well not say, because we actually did do this. Say we used a gerontology patient and took footage from his point of view where he was getting his blood pressure taken. So when you put the VR goggles on and we actually take your blood pressure, you feel that squeeze, but you look down and you see his hand, you slowly start to adopt it. We also use what is called handlers in VR. So if you touch someone's hand in a VR experience, there's someone to touch your hand back. We began working with neurologists about a year ago, and we went straight through the late stage patient. This is our mid stage patient. So we started working with a neurologist and to work on a project with VR for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or ALS patients. For the neurologist, it was really important for him that we work with these patients at 3 different stages of the disease. So we worked with a late stage patient, a mid stage patient, and an early stage patient. And so these patients graciously allowed us to come into their homes, interview them, interview their family members and their caregivers, and we slowly started piecing together a day in each of their lives. And so essentially what the neurologist wanted from us in these experiences was that we would make these experiences available to everyone at the center where these patients were being treated. So if from everyone from the receptionist all the way to the physicians would know what it was like to have these 3 stages of ALS. And so for the purpose of gaining empathy and understanding towards the care for these patients. And this really resonated with both John and I. We're super excited to do it. So The other part of this, the dance part of this, is that we really like to work with dancers as our handlers. We were fortunate enough to hire 10 beautiful dancers to help us with the ALS experiences when we premiered them just a little over a month ago. So you can see here 2 of the dancers. So this is what we would see watching on the outside. So in those goggles, this is what this woman sees this late-stage patient. So essentially what's happening is the late-stage patient is being picked up to stand up by a machine and also being assisted by her loved one. So in this, with this woman over here, she actually sees that, right? And then the dancers mimic that so she can feel what it's like to be put, having to be transferred all day. A lot of ALS patients have to be transferred from one place to the other, from the bed to the wheelchair and back again. Okay, well, John and I are super invested in this work. We're really excited about where this can go and who it can help. I think all of us can benefit from seeing the world from another's point of view and seeing the world from different body shapes, sizes, colors, all of it. All of us can benefit from a little bit more understanding. John and I are continuing on with our ALS patients and the neurologists, and we are also branching out into applications for Parkinson's disease, VR surgery, and addiction. We are also continuing on with movement experiences and a project that we've been working on for a while in gerontology. We teach this work, and as soon as we discover it, we pass it on to our students so that they too can add to this growing field of empathy, embodiment, virtual reality, and arts and health collaborations.